Good morning, Jenny Azulai with Legal Tech Publishing, and I am on the scene at ILTACON 2024, and I have the pleasure of speaking with
Scott Milner from Morgan Lewis.
And
Adam Rouse from Walgreens.
You guys clearly have been in this industry for decades. Okay.
When I started when I was 13, just remember that.
I would believe that, actually. And, you don't really have anything to prove at this point. You have your seasoned pros. Everybody knows you in this community. You don't really need to pay your dues anymore. Yet you're taking on new projects. So what motivates you to continue to push the envelope?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for me, when I thought about getting asked about joining legal data intelligence at LDI, I looked about what is my legacy? What am I going to be doing when I retire? And I look at the people before me that helped me get to where I am today. And they didn't just stop. They were already there. They didn't stop. And so it motivated me to say, this is what my team has been doing for years, and they deserve to get the credit for this. And so when I thought about joining Legal Data Intelligence and that team, the founding team, it was really important for me to say, let me pave the path for the next generation of Scott Milners and Adam Rouses and people that are part of that team, because that's the critical part. And I knew it added value to our client engagements. And I wanted the rest of the world to have some sort of framework to work off and say, this is what we're doing. Now let's put some common vocabulary together and a framework to work through it.
Fantastic. And how about you? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's, I was similarly motivated because I think one of the things that we do towards the, we'll say, apex of our careers is give back. And I think giving back is so important. I would never have gotten to where I am today without people mentoring me, believing in me, thinking, hey, Adam, this is a good path for you to go down. So part of that giving back is to take on this project, take on legal data intelligence, and provide that framework and just path for our talent pipeline. Because honestly, this industry has done nothing but grow, and we need good people in the pipeline to grow with it. So that was critical for me. So that's really what got me involved in it.
And the irony is that they're already in the pipeline. They just didn't know it, right? And that's the exciting part. There's people already doing legal data intelligence, and they just didn't know it, and there wasn't a formal job description or job role with a title to let the world know what they're already doing.
So you touched upon my next question. So what is LDI?
Yeah, so I'm going to obviously have Adam start because he's the expert on this.
Oh, fair enough. So legal data intelligence is really a framework and kind of a job outline, a data outline, if you will, for people that are in the legal industry but have really disparate job titles, right? We've got people over in compliance, we've got people in privacy, people in information security, data breach investigations, and eDiscovery, and all of us are really trying to do the same thing, which is take a bunch of data, usually legal data, and break it down, get what's useful, get what's necessary, analyze it, and then act on it. But with all these disparate job titles we've had in the past and not speaking a common language, it built silos between all these worlds. And so LDI at its core is about breaking down the silos and really helping people in these positions find commonality, speak the same language, and not only that, but speak the same language outside of legal. So you can go to your chief revenue officer, your chief financial officer, whoever, and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing in legal, in compliance, in security, to help protect the revenue of the company, to help expand the revenue of the company. And it provides a lot more mobility at those job levels for people to enhance their careers and to really, as Scott mentioned, get credit for what they're doing. There are thousands of people doing legal data intelligence work that may not feel like they're fairly represented in the legal tech or in the eDiscovery or in the compliance, whatever, in their communities. And now we're giving a name to what they do, and that's really, I feel, empowering for those folks.
And I think the other part of it is it's really built in three phases, right? So and we realized across the spectrum there was three phases that were consistent, right? Initiate, investigate, and implement. And so in all the different use cases that our LDI has rolled out to date, and there's going to be more to come, we looked and said, okay, what are the three things you have to do in all of these? Well, you have to initiate a project. You have to understand what your goals are. You have to gather the tools to get there. Look at what people, process, and technology are part of that. Then you have to investigate. So we know every project has data. And data is all over. And so every project has data, and we knew we had to investigate that data using the tools in the process. And then obviously the implement, and that's really taking action on the information provided. And so when we realized there was some commonality across all of that, we're like, why not jumpstart? Instead of working off a blank piece of paper every time, why not build these frameworks and build these use cases and templates that people aren't, spending those first 3 weeks going, what the heck are we doing again? So that's part of the fun.
Absolutely.
And it's all very interesting, and I'm dating myself here, but when I practiced law many moons ago, it was banker boxes, right? It was Post-it notes, even receipts, so random. And I haven't practiced during this era. So all of these things are so fascinating and are game changing, and yet continues to evolve, as you've mentioned. And so what do you have to say for the folks watching? Why should they get involved?
Well, from my perspective, get credit for what you're doing. We're all taking action on data. Anybody in this industry is already using data. They're already taking the same 3 stages of initiate, investigate, and implement. And I'll tell you one thing exciting about those that attended our ILTA panel yesterday. We did a quick poll. And normally one of these conferences, I would say 90% of the people that attend are eDiscovery professionals. Mm-hmm. We had about 20% of the audience was eDiscovery professionals. And the people that came out and talked to us were in legal ops, were in compliance, were technology providers, were in knowledge management, were in application development. That's pretty cool. That means they're interested in this. So to get involved, legaldataintelligence.org is an area, and happy to have you join us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just to echo what Scott said. We welcome people to get involved. We are inviting you. If any of this resonates with you, please come get involved with us. The 20 founding members, we shared a common vision, but we want that to expand. And what we really want to do is develop a community. Because I think when we develop that community, when LDI becomes a living, breathing entity on its own with a community support, then we're really getting the best that communities have to offer. We can crowdsource our information. We can really collaborate with each other. One of the things that drew me into the eDiscovery industry many moons ago when I kind of chose this as a career path is how collaborative the eDiscovery industry was. It wasn't like other areas of the law that I had practiced in where it was, well, maybe you go to like a family law conference and you shake hands or whatever, but you never really talk to the people who practice law in your area. That was different with eDiscovery. It's, hey, what are you doing? How can we improve our practice area? And I think a lot of that's because way back in the 2000s, everyone was making it up as we went along. So we had to collaborate. We had to figure out how do we do this thing together so it doesn't fall off the rails, right? And that's really another part of what legal data intelligence is about. As the volume, variety, and velocity of data just increases exponentially, we now have to come together again as a community and say, how do we deal with this? Because if we stay purely reactive and we have no proactive thinking, the train is just off the rails already, and we're in a bit of a problem area if we don't stay ahead of it.
And I still have scars from my days with boxes too. I'm to date myself. I was in those warehouses for days and days, with the nice finger scars. So it's great. Paper cuts.
Yes, I can relate to that. And this is all so fascinating and interesting and really inspiring. And what are your thoughts on ILTACON 2024? So how is it going for you and LDI? And, how is the crowd responding to your message and your community and your, motivation to get involved?
Yeah, one of the things I noticed about ILTA this year is it was a much different crowd. Actually, it's kind of fun because more often it is dominated, I think, by eDiscovery professionals. Mm-hmm. And this year I've met so many people in so many new roles I never even heard of. And that's exciting because that's the future of our, where the workforce is going and how they're attacking and addressing data. So I've been excited. And as for LDI and the rollout, we probably had 20 people wait after to talk to us about getting involved. And the best part is at the end of it, we put our little QR code for getting involved. And I would say probably 70% of the audience had their phone out snapping the QR code. And that's pretty darn cool to think about the fact that it's resonating. And that's what we wanted. Because at the end of the day, the 20 of us, we're on the sunset, right? And we want the next set to get involved and really get excited about this project.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm going to add my perspective as an ILTACON rookie. This is my first one. So I thought it was amazing. The scale is just extraordinary here. So many people I've never met, so many new connections, really building out my network. And I think that's also important, especially when you frame it in the context of LDI, right? We are about community building and finding commonality. So connecting with this new group of people outside of, my eDiscovery bubble is great, because there's so many more people we can bring into the fold and ask to join our community. And I think our panel yesterday, for being at 9 o'clock in the morning, we had great attendance and even better engagement from the audience, just to have people coming up afterwards and saying, hey, I did this at my company, I do this at my company, and no one knows what to call it. I didn't have a name. Now I have a name. I have a voice. I can really get out there and showcase my skills. And to make that sort of impact on people that are in their roles or want to be in those roles is just fantastic to me.
Well, that's amazing. And really, you're taking something that's quite intangible and making it more tangible. And that's awesome that you had such a great response and that it resonated with the crowd. I'm not surprised. And I think likewise, in tandem with LDI and community, ILTA is all about community. And, it's your first time, it's my second. Each time I find there's just such a positive energy. People are radiating excitement. People are genuine. They want this interaction. They want to penetrate the silos, as you've mentioned. So this is all great stuff. Wow. Well, we wish you continued success. We so thank you for speaking with us today, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you for having us and get involved.
That's right.
We want
Thank you so much.
Right?
We appreciate it.
We want you.
We want
Uncle Scott wants you.